She says yes to simple words, but those two words shatter everything. The Resistance, the Jedi, the balance of the entire galaxy. Rey takes Kylo Ren's hand, and in that moment, history changes forever. The throne room still burns around them. Snoke's body lies split in two on the cold floor. The Praetorian Guards, once the most feared warriors in the First Order, are now scattered lifeless across the chamber. And Rey, the last hope of the light, has just made a choice no one ever imagined. She looks into Kylo's eyes. She expects darkness, triumph, maybe even cruelty, but instead, she sees hope, fragile, desperate, almost afraid to exist. And what happens next will shock you, because Rey doesn't simply join Kylo Ren, she changes him. She changes everything. But the price of that choice is something no one in the galaxy could have predicted. Let's explore what might have happened. Her fingers tighten around Kylo's hand. For a moment, neither of them speaks. Rey can feel the warmth of his skin, the slight tremble in his grip, and through the Force, something deeper. Hope, not the arrogant confidence of a Sith, not the cold calculation of a tyrant, but the fragile hope of a broken man who doesn't want to be alone anymore. Around them, the throne room is silent, except for the distant alarms of the damaged supremacy. The Praetorian Guards lie motionless where they fell. Snoke's golden robes are soaked in blood. Rey came here to save the Resistance. Instead, she has stepped into something far more dangerous. Voice breaks the silence. "Please," he says quietly. "I don't want to do this alone." His eyes shine with emotion. He refuses to let fall. Rey feels the truth of his words through the Force. This isn't manipulation, not a trap, not some dark scheme. This is Ben Solo. Reaching out, she remembers the vision she saw, a future where he turned. Maybe this is how it happens, not through battle, not through hatred, but through compassion. "I'll join you," Rey whispers. Kylo's expression shifts in surprise, but not to rule, she continues. To change things, to make something better. Kylo tightens his grip on her hand. "Together," he says, "we'll build something new, not the Sith, not the Jedi, something that actually works." Suddenly, the supremacy shudders. Violently, an explosion ripples through the massive warship. Rey turns toward the viewport. Outside, the Resistance fleet is being torn apart by First Order turbolasers. Ships burn and spin helplessly in space. The Reduslia's flagship is barely holding together. Finn is out there. Leia is out there. Everyone she cares about. Rey pulls her hand away from Kylo. "Stop the attack." Her voice is firm. "If you want me to stay, you stop this now." Kylo hesitates. She can feel the storm inside him. Years of First Order doctrines scream for him to finish the job, destroy the Resistance, end the war, but Rey's eyes hold him. In place, finally. He turns and strides toward the command console. His cape sweeps behind him as he activates the comm. "System, General Hux, cease fire immediately." All batteries stand down. Hux's outraged voice crackles through the speakers. "What?" Supreme Leader Snoke ordered the total destruction of the Resistance fleet. "We have them cornered." Kylo's voice turns cold. Snoke is dead. A heavy silence fills the bridge. "I am the Supreme Leader now, and I am ordering you to cease fire." Another pause. "If you refuse," Kylo adds quietly, "I will personally ensure you join him." The silence stretches for several long seconds. Finally, Hux answers. "As you command, Supreme Leader." Outside, the turbolasers stop firing. The battered Resistance ships begin retreating toward the nearby mineral planet, Crait. Rey exhales slowly. For now, they're safe. Kylo turns back toward her, for the first time since they met. Rey sees something unexpected in his face. Vulnerability. He just defied the First Order. For her, they'll regroup on Crait. Rey says quietly, "They'll need time. They'll have it," Kylo replies, "but we have our own problems." Hux, Rey says. Kylo nods, and half the First Order. On the surface of Crait, the surviving Resistance fighters stumble out of their transports into the abandoned rebel base. Red mineral dust rises beneath their boots. The white salt crust cracks with every step. General Leia Organa stands at the entrance of the blast doors, staring into the sky. The First Order fleet still hangs above them, but something is wrong. They aren't attacking. Poe Dameron steps beside her. "They had us finished." he says. Why did they stop? Leia closes her eyes. Through the Force, she reaches out. She searches for the familiar presence she's known since the day her son was born. Ben. She finds him. Alive, powerful. Conflicted, but there's another presence beside him. Leia's heart sinks. Rey, she whispers. Poe looks at her, confused. What is it? Leia opens her eyes. For the first time in many years, she looks truly afraid. Rey went to bring my son back, she says quietly. I think she succeeded. Poe waits. But not the way we hoped. The news spreads through the Resistance camp like wildfire. Rey has joined Kylo Ren. Some refuse to believe it. Others feel betrayed. Finn stands apart from the others, his fists clenched. No, he says. Rey wouldn't do that. Rose gently places a hand on his arm. Maybe she thinks she can change him, she says. From the inside, Finn shakes his head. It doesn't work like that. I grew up in the First Order. It doesn't. Change, it corrupts. He looks toward the sky, and if Rey thinks she can fix it, his voice trails off. For the first time, he isn't completely sure. Meanwhile, aboard the Supremacy, Kylo Ren stands on the bridge as officers of the First Order file in to pledge loyalty to their new Supreme. Leader. Rey stands beside him. Some officers bow respectfully, others barely hide their resentment to them. She's still an enemy, an outsider, a scavenger from Jakku. General Hux enters last, his face is calm, but his eyes burn with hatred. He gives a shallow bow. Supreme Leader, the fleet awaits your orders. Kylo studies him. I expect the same loyalty you gave Snoke. Of course, Hux replies smoothly, though his gaze flickers toward Rey. Some recent decisions raise questions. Rey steps forward. I'm not your enemy anymore, she says calmly. This war has gone on long enough. It's time to build something different. Hux sneers. How inspiring. A scavenger from Jakku lecturing the First Order. I'm sure your experience living in garbage will be invaluable. Kylo's hand moves toward his lightsaber, but Rey gently stops him. Let me handle this. She faces Hux. I've seen war, she says quietly. Real war, not the kind fought from a command bridge. I've held dying friends in my arms. I've watched entire worlds burn. Her voice hardens, and that's why this ends now. Not because I'm weak, but because I'm strong enough to choose something better. Hux says nothing, but the hatred in his eyes promises one thing. This isn't over. Rey parries his strike, her blue blade clashing against his unstable red one. But the dark side is corrupting. It leads to evil. Only if you let it control you, Kylo replies, pressing his attack. The Sith were fools who let their passions consume them. They became slaves to their emotions instead of masters. But we're not Sith. We're something new. We take what works and discard what doesn't. He demonstrates what he means, showing her how to draw power from her emotions without being overwhelmed by them. The anger is there, always present, but it's channeled rather than unleashed, controlled. Burn, instead of wildfire, he sweeps her legs out from under her, and Rey hits the ground hard. The impact drives the air from her lungs, and for a moment, she sees stars. But instead of pressing his advantage, he deactivates his lightsaber and offers her his hand. You're holding back, he observes. You're afraid of your own power. I can feel it every time we spar. You reach for something and then pull away at the last moment. Rey takes his hand and rises, wincing at the bruises already forming on her back. Maybe I am. I've felt the dark side call to me. I've seen what it can do. On Octu in the cave, I touched something ancient and cold. It showed me things about myself that I didn't want to see. And yet, you're still here, still yourself. That's the difference between us and those who came before. We understand balance. We've touched both sides and survived. That makes us stronger than any Jedi or Sith who came before. The word resonates with Rey. Balance. It's what she's always sought, even if she didn't have a name for it. The pull between light and dark has been with her since she first awakened to the Force. Maybe Kylo is right. Maybe there's a way to embrace both without being destroyed. The training sessions become more intense over the following weeks. Kylo pushes her harder, demanding more, forcing her to dig deeper into her power. There are days when Rey leaves the training room barely able to stand, her muscles screaming and her connection to the Force stretched thin. But there are also breakthroughs, moments when everything clicks and she feels more powerful than she ever imagined possible. She learns to sense disturbances across vast distances, feeling the ripples in the Force caused by suffering or violence light years away. She learns to move objects with precision and power, lifting entire shuttles with nothing but her will. She learns to touch minds without destroying them, reading surface thoughts while leaving the deeper psyche intact. But she also learns darker techniques, skills that would horrify the Jedi who raised Luke. How to drain energy from living things, feeding on their life force to replenish her own. How to project fear into an enemy's heart, breaking their will without physical combat. How to kill with the Force alone, reaching out and simply stopping a heart. She tells herself she'll never use these abilities. They're just tools, options, to have in reserve for extreme circumstances, but each time she practices them, she feels something inside her shift. The light and dark mixing together, becoming something neither wholly good nor wholly evil. Something new, as Kylo promised, but also something dangerous. One day, during an especially intense session, Rey loses control. Kylo has been pushing her to tap into her anger, to use her frustration as fuel. He's been deliberately provoking her, questioning her choices, mocking her origins. And finally, something snaps. Rey unleashes a wave of Force energy that throws him across the room, but she doesn't stop there. The power keeps flowing, pouring out of her in an uncontrolled torrent. The observation windows crack, the floor buckles, and Rey screams. Caught in the grip of something primal and terrifying, Kylo recovers and reaches through their bond, grabbing onto her consciousness and pulling her back. It's like drowning in reverse, the darkness receding as his presence anchors her to reality. When it's over, Rey collapses, shaking and crying. Kylo kneels beside her, his expression a mix of concern and something that might be pride. That, he says quietly, was impressive. "I could have killed you. I could have killed everyone, but you didn't. You pulled back. That's the balance I'm talking about. Touching the darkness without becoming lost in it." Rey looks at her hands, still trembling with residual energy. "Is that what this feels like for you all the time? Sometimes it gets easier with practice. You learn to ride the wave instead of being pulled under." Their training continues for weeks. Rey's skills grow exponentially, her connection to the Force deepening in ways that would have taken years under traditional Jedi instruction. She learns to sense disturbances across vast distances, to move objects with precision and power, to touch minds without destroying them. But she also learns darker techniques, how to drain energy from living things, how to project fear into an enemy's heart, how to kill with the Force alone. She tells herself she'll never use these abilities. They're just tools, options to have in reserve, but each time she practices them, she feels something inside her shift, the light and dark mixing together, becoming something neither wholly good nor wholly evil. Meanwhile, the galaxy watches and waits. The First Order's new direction has confused everyone. Resistance sympathizers don't know whether to celebrate or suspect a trap. First Order loyalists grumble about weakness and compromise. Neutral systems carefully weigh their options, trying to determine which way to align themselves. On Crait, the Resistance has established a permanent base in the Old Alliance outpost. Leia works tirelessly to coordinate their remaining cells, to rebuild their shattered fleet, to maintain hope in what seems like a hopeless situation. But the fire that once drove her has dimmed. Every day she reaches out through the Force, searching for Rey, searching for her son, and every day she feels them moving further from the light. Finn refuses to give up. He's convinced that Rey is being manipulated, that Kylo has somehow twisted her mind. He spends hours studying First Order communications, looking for any sign that Rey is trying to reach them. Any signal that she's still the person he knew? Maybe she's playing a long game, Rose suggests one evening as they review intercepted transmissions. Maybe she's gathering intelligence, waiting for the right moment to bring them down from the inside. Finn shakes his head. "I thought that at first, but look at these reports. She's actually changing things. Slavery operations shut down. Political prisoners released, entire sectors given autonomy they've never had before. Either she's really committed to this act, or she's actually become one of them. Which scares you more?" Rose asks quietly. Finn doesn't answer. He doesn't know. 3 months into Ree's tenure as co-ruler of the First Order, she faces her first real crisis of conscience. A resistance cell has been captured on Cantonica, the casino planet where the galaxy's elite gather to flaunt their wealth. Among the prisoners is a woman named Paige Tico, Rose's sister, who was reported killed during the evacuation from Dakar, but actually survived and joined another cell. Rey learns of the capture through official channels. The prisoners are being held for interrogation, standard First Order procedure for suspected terrorists. But Rey knows what First Order interrogation means. She's experienced it herself, felt the agony of having her mind violated. She goes to the detention center personally. The guards snap to attention when she arrives, clearly nervous about her presence. She's developed a reputation for unexpected inspections, for showing up where she's not expected and asking questions that make powerful people uncomfortable. The prisoners are in a row of cells, their faces bruised and bloody from the initial processing. When Rey enters, they look at her with undisguised hatred. To them, she's the ultimate traitor, the Jedi who sold out to the enemy. Paige Tico glares at her with particular intensity. So the rumors are true. The girl who was supposed to save us became the Supreme Leader's pet. Rey ignores the insult, though it stings more than she'd like to admit. I'm here to offer you a choice. The war is over. The Resistance can't win, not militarily, but that doesn't mean everything you fought for is lost. The First Order is changing. Given time, it will become something better. Better. Paige laughs bitterly. Better for who? For the children who are still being taken from their families to become strong. For the planets paying tribute while their people starve. For the politicians who speak out and disappear. Rey hesitates. She knows these things still happen. Kylo has agreed to reforms, but implementation is slow. The First Order is a massive machine, and changing its course is like turning a Star Destroyer with a single thruster. I'm working on those things, Rey says finally, but I can't do it alone. If you cooperate, if you share what you know about remaining resistance operations, you'll be released. Not imprisoned, not executed. Released. Go wherever you want. Paige's expression hardens. So we betray our friends, and you let us go. That's your offer. I'm trying to save lives by helping the people who destroyed ours. Rey has no answer to that. She turns and leaves the detention center, her stomach churning with doubt. Behind her, she hears Paige's voice calling after her, Rose talks about you. You know, she still believes you're going to come back. Still believes there's good in you. I hope she's right, but I don't think she is. That night, Rey tries to meditate, to find peace in the Force, but all she sees is darkness. The faces of people she's failed, the weight of compromises she's made. She came here to change things, but every day she wonders if she's the one being changed. The prisoners, Rey says quietly, I want them released. All of them, no conditions. Kylo frowns. That would undermine our authority. Show weakness to other cells. Maybe, or maybe it shows that we're different from Snoke, that we're capable of mercy. Is a luxury, Rey, one we can't afford right now. Rey turns to face him, and her eyes are blazing. Then what's the point? If we ruled the same way Snoke did, if we use the same methods, the same cruelty, then nothing has changed. We're just wearing different faces while doing the same evil. Kylo meets her gaze. And for a long moment, neither of them speaks. Then, slowly, he nods. The prisoners will be released, he says, but this can't become a pattern. We need to find another way to handle resistance operations, something that doesn't require constant mercy. Rey exhales, some of the tension leaving her shoulders. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Kylo replies. Hux will use this against us. He's already gathering support. Among the hardliners, every decision like this pushes more officers into his camp than we deal with Hux. And how do you propose we do that? Rey considers the question carefully. Back on Jakku, she learned to survive by understanding power structures, by knowing who to ally with and who to avoid. Hux is dangerous because he has institutional support, officers who believe in the old ways, who see Kylo's reforms as weakness. The solution isn't to eliminate Hux, it's to undermine his base of support. We need to give people a reason to believe in our vision, she says finally. Not just fear of punishment, but hope for something better. Right now, the only people who benefit from the First Order are those at the top. We need to change that. you're talking about restructuring the entire system. I'm talking about making good on our promises. We said we were building something new. Let's actually do it. Kylo studies her for a long moment, something unreadable in his dark eyes. Then a faint smile crosses his face. You know, when I asked you to join me, I didn't expect you to be this much trouble. Rey returns the smile. You should have thought of that before you asked. The reforms that follow are unprecedented in First Order history. Stormtrooper recruitment is changed from forced conscription to voluntary enlistment with proper pay and benefits. Occupied worlds are given representation in a newly formed Council of Systems with actual power to influence policy. Tribute quotas are reduced, and a portion of military spending is redirected to infrastructure development in impoverished sectors. Hux watches these changes with barely concealed fury. Every reform chips away at the power structure he helped build, the machine that elevated him from a nobody to one of the most powerful men in the galaxy. He begins meeting secretly with officers, planting seeds of dissent. The Supreme Leader has lost his mind, Hux tells them in hushed conversations. That scavenger girl has bewitched him, turned him against everything we stand for. If we don't act soon, the First Order will crumble from within. What do you suggest? Asks Captain Peavy, one of his most loyal supporters. Patience. We build our strength quietly, position our people in key roles, and wait for the right moment. When Ren inevitably fails, we'll be ready to restore order. And the girl, Hux's eyes gleam with malicious intent. Accidents happen, even to those who think themselves protected. But Hux underestimates the bond between Rey and Kylo Ren. Through the Force, they sense each other's thoughts and feelings, a connection that has only grown stronger over time. Rey feels the currents of discontent within the First Order, the plotting and scheming that threatens their fragile new order. She warns Kylo, who responds by reassigning suspected conspirators to remote postings far from the centers of power. Hux notices his allies disappearing and grows more cautious. The open plotting gives way to encrypted communications and dead drops. But even as he works against them, Rey and Kylo continue their transformation of the galaxy. 6 months after Rey's fateful choice, the changes are visible even to casual observers. The war has effectively ended, not through victory, but through exhaustion and gradual de-escalation. Resistance cells still operate, but their attacks have decreased as the First Order becomes less brutal. Some have even begun negotiating amnesty, trading their weapons for guaranteed safety and a voice in the new order. Leia Organa watches these developments with complex emotions. Part of her is relieved. The endless war that has consumed her life may finally be ending. But another part grieves for the daughter she never had. The young woman who saw something worth saving in her son and paid the price for that belief. She's changing things. Poe observes one day, reviewing the latest intelligence reports. I hate to admit it, but she's actually making things better. Leia nods slowly. Rey always saw possibilities where others saw only obstacles. I just wish she hadn't had to sacrifice herself to do it. Maybe she didn't, Finn interjects. Maybe she's still in there, still fighting for us in her own way. Leia looks at him with tired eyes. Maybe. But the girl who left us isn't the girl she is now. Whatever she's become, it's something different, something we don't fully understand. Octu, Luke Skywalker feels the ripples of change spreading across the galaxy. He's spent the past months in isolation, wrestling with his failures and his doubts. The destruction of his temple, the loss of Ben Solo, the betrayal of everything. He tried to build, and now Rey, his last hope, has joined the very darkness he sought to destroy. The guilt is crushing. Every morning he wakes to the weight of what he's done, the choices that led to this moment. He sees Ben's face in his nightmares, the look of terror and betrayal when he ignited his lightsaber over his sleeping nephew. He hears the screams of his students as the temple burned. He feels the galaxy's pain, the suffering of billions caught in a war that he might have prevented. The Force ghosts have visited him often. Yoda, as cryptic and infuriating as ever. Obi-Wan, offering wisdom that Luke isn't sure he understands. And occasionally, for brief moments, his father, not Darth Vader, but Anakin Skywalker as he might have been. Offering silent support without judgment. Failed, you have not. Yoda tells him one evening, as the twin suns set over the island, failed, none of us have. Learning we are, always learning, even in death. But Ben, Luke protests, Rey, everything I touched turned to ash. Responsibility you carry, but alone you are not. Choices they make, choices you make. Intertwined, all things are. Yoda pauses, his ghostly form flickering in the fading light. Go to her you must. Made a choice, she has, but finished. Her journey is not. I failed her, Luke replies. I failed them both. What can I possibly offer now? The future? Always in motion it is. Seen one path, you have. But other paths there are. Closed, none of them truly are. Open your heart must be. Afraid, you must not be. Luke considers the old master's words. He thinks of Leia, still fighting after all these years. He thinks of Han, who never gave up on his son, even when it cost him everything. He thinks of Rey, the girl who came to him seeking guidance and left with only disappointment. And he realizes something. His failure wasn't in trusting Ben. It wasn't. Even in that moment of weakness, when he considered ending his nephew's life, his failure was in giving up afterward, in running away instead of facing the consequences, in letting fear dictate his path instead of hope. And he makes a decision. The Millennium Falcon has been sitting in its cove for months, untouched since Rey left. Luke approaches it slowly, memories flooding back. Han's laugh, Chewie's growl, the adventures they shared, the battles they fought, the galaxy they saved together. It feels like a lifetime ago. He runs his hand along the hull, feeling the countless repairs that have kept this ship flying for decades. The Falcon is held together by hope and stubbornness, just like the rebellion it once served. Just like him, maybe. He boards the ship and runs his hands over the familiar controls. The Falcon hums to life, responsive as ever, despite its age. The cockpit feels empty without Han in the pilot's seat, but Luke can almost sense his old friend's presence, encouraging him. About time, old buddy. He imagines Han saying, "Thought you were gonna hide on that rock forever." Luke plots a course for the galactic core. For the supremacy and the confrontation he knows awaits him. "I'm coming," he whispers. For both of you, the journey takes several days. Giving Luke time to meditate, to prepare, he reaches out through the Force, touching the minds of those he's leaving behind. Leia, still fighting, still hoping. The Resistance fighters, battered but unbroken. And Rey and Ben, their presences intertwined in ways that he's never seen before. Finn and Rose have children too, and for a time, the two families are close. Their kids grow up together, playing in the halls of the training temple and learning about a galaxy their parents helped save. The bond between them echoes the bond between Rey and Finn, healed at last after years of misunderstanding, and then, 50 years after their encounter with Valkorion, Rey and Kylo feel it, a presence in the Force, vast and ancient, observing them from across the galaxy. "He's checking in," Rey says, looking up at the night sky. Kylo nods, his gray hair silver in the moonlight. "Seeing if we've kept our end of the bargain, have we?" Rey thinks about it. The galaxy isn't perfect. It never will be. But it's better than it was, and getting better still. The Alliance has weathered crises without collapsing. The Force users they've trained have become a force for good, not domination. And the cycles of war that once seemed inevitable have been broken, at least for now. "I think we have," she finally says. "At least, we've made a good start." The presence recedes, satisfied for now. Somewhere in the unknown regions, Valkorion has taken note, and though they'll never know for certain, Rey suspects that he's pleased, not because he's been defeated, but because he's been proven wrong, because they've shown that the galaxy can grow beyond its limitations. The final years of Rey and Kylo's lives are peaceful. They spend their time training students, playing with grandchildren, and simply enjoying each other's company. The bond that brought them together in the throne room of the Supremacy has only grown stronger over the decades, a connection that transcends words or touch. When Kylo passes, it's quiet. He closes his eyes one evening and simply doesn't open them again. Rey feels him go, a gentle fading rather than a sudden absence. She holds his hand as his body dissolves into the Force, becoming one with the energy that flows through all things. She mourns him, but she doesn't despair. Through the Force, she can still feel him. Changed, perhaps, less distinct, but present. In the same way that Luke and Leia and all the others remain present. a part of the galaxy's eternal story. Rey lives on for a few more years, long enough to see her grandchildren have children of their own. The galaxy continues to turn, new challenges arising and being met. The Grey Order flourishes its members, carrying the lessons that Rey and Kylo taught. And the new Galactic Alliance, though imperfect, remains the most stable government the galaxy has ever known. On her final day, Rey walks to the hill overlooking the training temple, the same hill where she and Kylo sat so many years ago, watching their students practice. She sits down slowly, her ancient body aching with the effort. The Force ghosts appear around her. Luke, smiling with the peace he finally found. Leia radiant and proud. Han, looking surprised to be there, but happy nonetheless. And Kylo, young again, his eyes free of the pain that once haunted them. "Ready?" he asks, extending his hand. Rey takes it and rises. Her body remains on the hillside, peaceful in repose, but she is already moving beyond, joining the eternal flow of the Force. She looks back one last time at the galaxy she helped save. It's still imperfect, still struggling, still growing, but it's alive. It has a future, and that's more than she could have hoped for. All of you for giving me a chance. And with that, she's gone, the last of the Skywalker era, finally at rest. But the galaxy continues. New heroes rise to face new challenges. The lessons of the past are remembered, even as new paths are forged. And somewhere in the unknown regions, Valkorion watches with ancient eyes, genuinely curious to see what happens next. The Force flows on, connecting all things, light and dark, past and future, those who live and those who have passed beyond. In its eternal dance, every ending is also a beginning. And so the story continues. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.